For that. I don't know if you'll show
Alderman Kittle.
Here.
Alderman Vrees. Alderman Weinmeier.
Here.
Alderman Gartner.
Here.
Alderman Volkert.
Here.
Alderman Montello.
Here.
I have Mayor Zakowski is absent, but if he joins virtually, I'll let you know. And we do have to use microphones regardless so we can get this recorded. Thank you.
Here. Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Make a motion, we adopt the agenda.
I'll second it.
Aye.
Sorry.
Nope.
I'll say it again. I make a motion.
I'll second
Second.
Craig's the winner.
Aye.
Those all fell under the consent agenda. They're letter F of that, yes.
Our first item of business this evening is to recognize Gordon Granroth. Gordon will be stepping down from the library board after 18 years of service. At the library board meeting last week, we presented him with a small token of appreciation. We have another one for him this evening. I think, especially as the council is aware, it can be difficult nowadays to get folks to volunteer for anything. And to think that Gordon was on this for 18 years, several years as president, and you can do the quick math of, okay, the library board meets almost every month for 18 years. That's a lot of meetings. But then when you think about, he was meeting with Monica, looking over invoices and expenditures each month, going through the agenda every month. He was involved with the Friends of the Library group, and also very active in terms of attending other library programs and events, just to be visible, to be supportive of the library staff and the work that they do. And then the building project, which Gordon said he's seen ups and downs and stops and starts of that over the years. And I know last fall was a very special day for you when you finally broke ground on it. And so we thought certainly was worth inviting Gordon here. He has some family and some of our other library board trustees here tonight to thank him for his service. And I wanted to give the opportunity, if anyone from the council wanted to say a few words as well. Some of you may have worked with him on the library board over the years, but if you want to extend any thanks or appreciation, feel free.
I just want to say a quick thank you, Gordon. And I think by your resignation, it's probably, you're telling yourself that the library is probably going to get built. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so then now you're out of here.
Yeah, and I just certainly will add, do you remember the first day we met, Gordon? It was in that rain-soaked day. We were doing the groundbreaking. Or out there, we were doing some kind of, not the groundbreaking, but we were putting that sign up, and it was pouring rain, and we couldn't wait to get back to our cars. But you were dedicated, you were out there, and ever since then. So then I'm also on the library board, and I appreciate all your efforts to be on that, all the extra work you do, and I certainly have to also ditto that statement that after all these years and all those ups and downs, the building is there, and it's going to be opening soon. So thank you very much for all you've done, very much. Yeah.
Gordon, I just want to say thank you for the years, the meetings, and your input. At the end of the day, so that is a testament. That you made.
So without any further ado, we have a small gift if Gordon would like to come up, and Monica, you too, can take a photo with them, and if we can just give Gordon a round of applause.
Yeah.
So our next item of business is our annual agreement between the City of Richmond and Northwood Technical College for the administration of and management for our local cable access channel. So this contract would run July 1st, 2025 through June 30th of 2026. The estimated contract cost of $16,000, which is consistent with last year as well. So no other changes that are being proposed as part of the contract. Dr. Alex Burkholz is here in the audience this evening. If anyone from the council has any questions for him about local cable channel or anything about the agreement in particular.
I'd make a motion to accept the agreement.
Second?
I have a question, but it doesn't have anything to do with the motion, so it's all right. Let's vote.
Alderman Kittle?
Yes.
Alderman Vries? Alderman Weinmeier?
Yes?
Alderman Gartner?
Yes.
Alderman Volkert?
Yes.
Alderman Montello?
Yes. I'm just curious to ask you, from your perspective, what do you, the future of cable, and not specifically about New Richmond, I'm just curious about that technology of delivering, video to homes. Do you know what's happening to, do you have a sense of what's happening to viewership in Richmond? Go ahead.
Of numbers, the memo that I submitted shows the logical change we're seeing. So if we go back a couple years, we were about 707 subscribers. So
Might want to pull the microphone towards you.
note that more people are watching than just the subscriber, because a household we have. But numbers, as you can see there, are going down, and people are choosing the a la carte options that streaming is affording them rather than buying the full package, which has channels they may or may not watch. We are sadly seeing communities north of us losing their cable systems. There gets to a point where you can't operate any longer if the base goes down too far. We have no indication of that here at this point, but it is going down. And so it'll be important, as you see, our equipment is from 2018, and so once that equipment fails, which we hope is no time soon, but at this point, technology is prone to do that. It'll be a decision at that point whether to reinvest in it or say that it had a good run since 1985. But it certainly is a consolidating industry at this point. We still see interest with local producers that are providing us weekly content, and so that's an important indicator of our health. And then those organizations advertise the programming out. So there are still certainly people viewing it. And right now, if you do the percentages, we have about 4,300 households in New Richmond. And so we're about 15% penetration for those homes with cable. But people also see cable at certain commercial establishments in town as well. So there are other ways besides just in-home viewing. But it certainly isn't as common as it once was to have cable.
Is it your sense, and I'm not really the world's biggest that YouTube likely means that public access programming?
Yes, and there are a couple of things driving that. One, the income. You can choose to collect revenue based on posting your content to YouTube. And that's a question when local independent producers come to us and say, I'm thinking of putting up a show. Once they find out that YouTube will pay them a nickel or a dime every time someone shows it versus there's no monetization with PEG, then they sometimes just opt for that. But yes, that is where people are going. Unfortunately, that requires people to go to them to find it, whereas there are still those of us that go up and down the cable lineup and we watch what happens to catch our eye. And we anecdotally hear from a lot of people that say, oh, I stop and watch county board meetings or council meetings because I'm going through the lineup and there it is. I didn't sit down, you know, wanting to do that. And of course, YouTube, you have to seek out what you want to watch besides that little algorithm they have that suggests some things to you.
There's still a population, I don't know if it's a considerable population of 70-year-old guys or 70-year-old females or families that they're not on YouTube. They don't have any idea. They're the ones watching the churches, and they're the ones watching the council meetings and the county board meetings. And they're the ones that are gonna watch the content that's right in front of them, as opposed to trying to get on YouTube. And in 10 years, you're probably 100% right. There's not gonna be a need for it because the generations will just, but there's still like my dad watches all the time, you know, and he has no internet. Thank God he doesn't have a computer.
I think it's a great point, and I get the difference of, on cable, you can just say, hey, I'm gonna go to the local channel and see what's on there. And you're absolutely right. I wonder, and this isn't really commentary about, I appreciate that we've had this. It's not really a commentary about that. It's just with the rate of change that we see technology-wise, I wonder if, and it doesn't matter, but I wonder if it will be 10 years.
Maybe 5, I don't know. Yeah.
I think the comment about they get to a point of lack of saturation, I need to use a different term than that, of the percentage of subscribers, right? That there's a point where it just doesn't work. And so I do agree with you, Craig. I think there is an audience that cable does the best job of delivering local access information.
Well, they're only option, you know, for a lot of them.
Yep.
Not a whole lot of them, but a lot of them.
Right. No, I agree. So anyhow, but thank you. I was curious about that.
I have been working with Justin from Justin Livestream, and we thought we had things going to put games on there, football and basketball and girls basketball and whatever content he has. And I'll talk to Noah tomorrow about that, but we haven't gotten any content from him. So thought we had a deal with him, and we haven't heard much from him since then. So.
We did approve it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is allowed now.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's up to him, is what you're
Yeah.
saying.
I know.
It falls in his court.
Yes.
Yeah.
And his technology's got to match with
Yep.
their technology, and I think we kind of had that figured out. But I'll give him a call and talk to him about that, because I think that would be a really big plus if we could watch whatever games are on, whatever games they film and announce. It's really good stuff. I mean, they do a really good job. So.
Pleasure.
Can take that. The Tourism Committee met on May 15th and reviewed a couple of applications. Through the first quarter, along with the carryover, the Tourism Committee had $67,164 available for grants. They only received a few grants, and after reviewing them and looking for qualified expenses, they recommend New Richmond Area Chamber of Commerce getting $1594.06 for cabin fever. A new group that applied for funding, MBL Promotions, who held a spring, kind of like a tractor pull out at Cedar Lake Speedway, $350 for their promotions. And then the Tourism Committee is looking to create some marketing pieces to kind of get the word out on the website, make window clings for restaurants and hotels at $500. So the total request is $202,444.06. But Pete was at the meeting. Either of us are happy to answer questions about that.
Well, Michelle, you said they only received a few grants. I just want to make sure.
Or
I
a few
understand you.
applications for
Yeah,
grants.
Grant requests.
Grant requests, correct.
Okay.
Is this bumper stickers?
The window cling, so what it would be is a window cling that would go on, like at a restaurant outside. That's the things to do in New Richmond. And then if you scan the QR code, it'll tell you all different activities, parks and trails. And then for the hotels, it'll say places to eat in New Richmond. And so it'd be a cling that could be on the mirror in the hotel room or wherever they choose to put it.
Just one other quick question.
Yes.
Did you say 200? What were you referencing when you used that number? I thought you said there was like 200,
There's 2,000, the
Oh,
three,
2,000.
$2,444.06 is the total grant dollars that will be given out after the first quarter.
I've been married long enough where I don't hear every word. So my apologies.
Practice, there's still time.
Mr. Chair, I'm going to make a motion that we approve the recommendations as they've been laid out.
I'll second it.
Alderman Vries? Alderman Weinmeier?
Yes?
Alderman Gartner? Alderman Volkert?
Yes.
Alderman Montello?
Yes.
Alderman Kittle?
Yes.
Good evening, council. As part of the council approval for the 2025 CIP, we were authorized to make a purchase of a newer, slightly used SUV to replace our aging, or one of our aging detective vehicles. The Public Safety Committee did authorize us to go out for bids. We did, and we received the 6 bids that were in your packet. The one Ford Edge with 6,300 miles on it was going to be our recommendation. However, that one had been sold when we went up to take a look at it and test drive it. After evaluating the options, staff is recommending that we go with the first one on the list from Bernard's Northtown. It's a Jeep Grand Cherokee. It's considered a new vehicle with only 50 miles on it. And we would recommend the total purchase price of $29,991.91 with the trade-in that they gave us $9,000 for. Originally, there was $50,000 set aside on the CIP to make this purchase. So we'd also be recommending the $1,000 maintenance package, and then $10,000 be allotted for equipment to outfit that vehicle. We'll reuse what we can from the current detective vehicle. And then in talking with city administration, that puts us at around that $40,000 mark with $50,000 actually allotted. So we'd also be requesting that we allow city staff to explore purchasing some of the equipment for the needed squad cars for next year, which are part of the CIP, to offset some of the potential cost increases we're seeing for next year for what we budgeted for 2026 CIP. We feel like if we buy a light bar or a radar or a couple of those items with this money this year, we would then be able to come in at or under budget for next year as well. And that would be, of course, with city administration and finance approval if council were to see that as a good option tonight. Public safety agreed that that was something worth looking at. Any questions I can answer?
Would you expect to keep this vehicle longer?
Yes, so if we get the one with the 50 miles on
The
it.
$30,000 one, you'd
Yeah,
expect to keep a
we
couple more
would
years?
get more years out of it, and it comes with a new vehicle warranty, where the other ones are obviously used, and with our maintenance budget the way it is, having that extended or longer warranty time on the vehicle would probably be conducive to the budget. Correct. 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 Yeah, well, so next year, the 2026 CIP has a replacement schedule of 2 fully marked patrol vehicles and a detective vehicle. With where we're at with staffing and such, we're actually exploring going with 3 fully marked vehicles in 2026. But we've been told that we have to stay where the CIP is because of the borrowing. So we think if we can utilize some of these funds to offset outfitting those cars next year, buying things we know we're gonna need for those vehicles, that would help with CIP next year to get us where we're at. And again, that's not set in stone. We would still have to work with Rayanne and Noah to make sure that that makes complete sense in the budget. But we wanted to put that out there for council. And if it seems to work for finance to do that, we think it's maybe a viable option with some of the expenditures that the city council is going to have in 2026 instead of coming back and raising our CIP for next year. For items that have kind of been being looked at for the last 3 or 4 years to try to offset some of those costs with money that's currently there. And again, if it doesn't make sense with finance, then they would just tell us no.
Is this a pursuit vehicle?
This is a detective vehicle, so it's a V6, unmarked. Basically exactly what all our detectives are driving right now.
Yeah, so, I mean, we know that every year, right, we're either replacing a detective vehicle, squad cars, and so the thought was if we're in a favorable position, potentially it's less money we'd have to borrow in 26 if we know that we're gonna be, replacing some of this stuff anyways, so, and sometimes there's a little bit of economy of scale if you're buying 2 of something, and again, if we know that 12 months from now, we're gonna be buying the exact same thing, so.
I'll make the motion to approve it.
Which one?
The Jeep Grand Cherokee for $29,991.91 with the $1,000 maintenance package.
I'll second it.
Alderman Weinmeier,
Yes.
Alderman Gartner,
Yes.
Alderman Volkert,
Yes.
Alderman Montello. Abstain, sorry.
Yeah.
Alderman Kittle
Yes.
and Alderman Breeze.
Mike? He's on his way, yeah. He hasn't finished that paragraph yet that he's.
So this item of business is in regards to replacement of water and sewer main on Riley Avenue near the Nurton Middle School. This was discussed earlier this spring, both by the Utility Commission and the Council, that given the aging infrastructure and the fact that there's going to be a contractor mobilized there, tearing up the parking lot, doing the work, that it would make sense to kind of piggyback off of that if we were ever going to replace the main, to do it at the same time. In that rather than the city bidding that project out separately as a standalone project, it would make sense that the same contractor that's already doing the rest of the work there on the site do that work. So included in the memo, you can see 4 bids that were received, and this was by the school district. You can see the alternate bid would be the cost of the water and sewer main replacement, and then the total base bid. So total excavating and grading was awarded the project because of their total project cost. You can see that 1.5 million. So even though the alternate bid was not the lowest, you can see the lowest was Park Construction Company at $31,990. The school district awarded the project to the total low bidder, which was total excavating and grading. And so it was the recommendation of staff and the Utility Commission to award the project for the Riley Avenue water and sewer main replacement to total excavating in the amount of $55,100. This work would be done this summer as part of the school project. It's just that the city would be paying that portion of it rather than the school district.
Alternate bid for the Riley Avenue water and sewer main.
Or the 1.5.
That's the schools.
That's the schools, yep.
That's-
Ours
Oh,
would
I
just
see
be
what
an
you mean.
alternate portion, yep.
Second?
Okay, I just gotta ask you, because when I read the memo, you said it was 75 years old. Not doing the detective work that I'm kind of qualified to do, and I don't think, Craig, this will get me a job in your department. Should the sewer main and water be 75 years old if the high school was built in 1961?
No, 59.
59, I thought. That prior to there being a school, because it was Ron knows he was here then. That was just a field, right?
Farm
Was
field.
that- Yeah, it's farmland. Yeah. So there wouldn't have been, so anyhow.
Especially a 6-inch cast iron clay pipe.
Exactly my point. So it is probably about 66 years old.
Yeah, I don't know if there would have been any reason that would have existed prior to the school or not. Obviously, it serves but obviously at that time, that would have been kind of the edge of the city.
I was just curious if they use carbon dating to date that stuff or what it is. Sorry.
Is this going to base your decision on the vote?
How I'm voting, it actually helps now that we have
Okay.
full transparency.
Clarity.
I can. Alderman Gartner.
Abstain.
Alderman Volkert.
Yes.
Alderman Montello.
Yes.
Alderman Kittle.
Yes.
Alderman Vries. Alderman Weinmeier.
Yes.
So included in the packet are a couple of quotes that staff solicited in regards to replacing the fence, which goes around Mary Park. The fence has been in place for a couple of years. We've had to make a lot of repairs to it over the years, and staff feel it's worth going from what was more of a residential aluminum fence and going more to a steel product. And so we solicited quotes. The low quote was from Cyclone Fence in the amount of $16,152. Now, there are funds remaining in the Wheels Playground fund for maintenance of the project. And then there are still some leftover proceeds from the insurance claim when you enter Mary Park with the signage there. So this was reviewed at the park board at their most recent meeting. Their recommendation would be to award the project to Cyclone Fence in the amount of $16,152.
I'd make a motion to approve the bid for Will's Playground fence.
Second.
Just, we had fence there,
Yep, still there. Yep.
wear and tear, vandalism.
A lot of wear and tear. I think the park's heavily used, playground gets a lot of use. I think when we went with the aluminum product, probably didn't anticipate some of the, the climbing and the slamming of gates and things that went on. It was installed by a reputable company at that time. We solicited bids. I think Cyclone Fence was even one of the bidders at that time. So it's not that it was installed by staff or we cut corners on the installation. But hopefully this new fence will last a lot longer.
We actually had staff go to Menards and price out the fence. $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 more. So.
Alderman Volkert.
Yes.
Alderman Montello.
Yes.
Alderman Kittle.
Yes.
Alderman Vries. Alderman Weinmeier.
Yes.
Alderman Gartner.
Yes.
Oh, what?
So this item of business was discussed at the most recent Public Works Committee meeting. So there were three pieces of equipment that were included in the 2025 CIP. One was the replacement for a John Deere Gator, and then there were 2 mowers. And staff solicited bids for these, and a couple of these items were a little more expensive than what we had estimated. And so the recommendation would be to move forward with replacing the 2005 John Deere Gator, as well as the 2017 Skag zero-turn mower. You can see the quotes included in the packet. And then the other zero-turn mower we would incorporate as part of our 2026 capital replacement plan. So just replacing the first 2 pieces of equipment. So the low bid that met city specs for the one mower was submitted by Kinney Sport and Power in the amount of $10,233. And the low bid for the UTV, which was the John Deere Gator, was submitted by Midwest Machinery in the amount of $29,007.39. Again, the estimate for that was $25,000, so it came in a little higher than what we had expected. So we thought that the other mower will get us through this year, and that we'd replace it as part of our 2026 capital plan.
Looks like you want to do the same thing with the money that's left over, hold it like we talked about with the police vehicle there? Carry over?
Well, a little different. I mean, theirs,
Yeah.
it was more favorable to budget. In this case, we had hoped to replace all three, came in a little higher than expected. But
But I'm
obviously
saying
has
in the
a,
recommendation, it says they would, the
right. So, you know, again, that just doing the two this year, again, we wouldn't have to necessarily budget in next year's capital plan for the full amount if we have some funds remaining.
Anything we're trading in?
So, you know, with our mowers, typically we'll list these on the surplus auction site. You typically aren't going to get a whole lot for them, but we would list them declare them as surplus.
Jeff, we asked that question during finding better success having them go to the state surplus auction site than the trade value.
Wow.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to offer a motion that we approve Parks equipment purchase as it's laid out in the memo.
second.
Alderman Montello?
Yes.
Alderman Kittle?
Yes.
Alderman Breeze? Alderman Weinmeier?
Yes.
Alderman Gartner?
Yes.
Alderman Volkert?
Yes.
Good evening, alderpersons. I know you're very excited for this, so you wanted to jump ahead, Pete. Over the last couple of months, Christy and I have been reviewing some of our licensing and permitting ordinances. The direct seller one has always been confusing for folks to apply for that permit because it was lumping door-to-door sales or folks who might set up a booth and want to sell products somewhere on Knowles Avenue, like the rug salesperson who used to come and set
Or
up by the Dairy
peaches,
Queen.
Or peaches.
Peaches are
Yeah.
actually a produce, so that falls under something else. But, and then mobile food trucks were falling under that direct seller as well. And so we just wanted to clean it up and divide them. So the direct seller is somebody who is selling a product or going door to door. And a mobile food establishment is truly a mobile food establishment. So it's a food truck, ice cream truck, donuts, something that a food product is being sold. And they have different licensing also from the county and the state. So this just clarifies it. We also wanted to clarify the fees. Public safety talked about this twice, and a number of you were there. And the fees are really meant to discourage door-to-door sales in our community because the police department and the clerk's office can tell you that our residents do not enjoy that. And then it also has a background check with it, and we clarified the rules around that as well. So otherwise, the ordinance is just kind of some verbiage updates and cleaning up the text a little bit. But I'm happy to answer any questions about either of the two.
Well, again, I'm asking a question about something you said. You said
Yeah.
a direct seller is somebody who's selling an item, I think, or going door to door.
Product, yeah. So they could be selling an item door to door, or they could be selling a service. So somebody who wants to paint your house,
Okay, but
they have to fill that out.
but
That's a service.
Do they have to be going door to door to be called for a direct seller's permit?
No, they could have a booth set up somewhere. So they could set up a booth if they have permission to set, we don't allow it in city parks or on city, just on the street.
Yep.
But let's say they work with the grocery store who says, yeah, you can set up a booth and sell that product here if you want. If they're selling directly to the public, they have to fill out the application and they get a background check.
So if somebody is selling produce?
So if
direct
they're
sellers?
selling produce, if you read the ordinance, actually farm products do not fall under that. That falls under, and they're exempt from.
Okay, I was hoping for the audio version. But skipping ahead to the
Yes.
next item of the agenda, since it's on here
Yep.
now, Noah, I just had a little communication with Noah today, and I'm hoping, I don't know, okay, as far as the fees go, I'm hoping we could treat this as a first reading because I think that if somebody is, not the direct sellers thing, I'm just talking about the mobile food establishment, is $10 a day enough for a food truck that's coming to town and doesn't bear any of the costs of being a regular brick and mortar business here?
I can give a little background on how that number came to be.
Well, before you do that,
Yeah.
it was expressed to me that we could have some mobile food establishments that are businesses that are here.
Correct.
And I think that there should be 2 fees. That if you have a business here, a brick and mortar business, or you're working at a bricks and mortar and you want to do something mobile food wise, that's a lower fee. But for a food truck that rolls into town, I just gonna say,
If you have a brick and mortar business in town, you do not have to, according to our ordinance, you're exempt from the fees.
okay, you don't have to get it at all.
Correct. You don't have to get that all. So, and I can pull it up on the ordinance, which number it is. It is weird. I had to read it multiple times to really understand
I'll take
it.
your word for it, Michelle. It doesn't seem to me, we want to encourage restaurants to be here in town.
Yeah.
And I've had somebody express to me that they were frustrated that, nothing against food trucks, but they roll into town, they don't represent, when you hear folks say, boy, I wish we had more restaurants downtown. Food trucks don't help there be more restaurants downtown, right? And so is $10 a day enough? Not proposing that we have the answer to that. That's why I'm hoping this could be treated as a first reading. We'd have a chance to get some feedback.
Well, do we have
We
fair,
can't-
competitive prices from other towns or municipalities?
Yes, so this is the other piece that I don't think I explained well in the memo. It is already expensive through the county and through the state. In order to get the mobile food license here, they've already gone through that licensing process through the county and the state. So it's over $400 to get the license through the county, and they have to have that here, or they have to have a state license. And so where a direct seller doesn't have to have that. But I can get better information on that, and we can look at it at the work session or the next council meeting.
I get the difference.
Yeah.
In terms of the fees. That's unfortunate that the county.
Well, and the
apparently has
county does the inspections. So the county is
Okay.
taking on the responsibility of inspecting the food trucks and all the Serve Safe licensing.
Sure.
And so they're kind of doing the heavy lifting background on these licenses. And so
My
I think
point-
it's fair that they charge more.
My point really has to do with, and maybe, and this is where the tariff jokes can be said, but really trying to protect folks who have the investment here. That's really what I'm thinking about. So that's where that comes from.
Yeah.
Well, if we treat it as a first reading,
Yeah.
We have them as 2 separate items too.
and the only reason I brought it up, Noah, is because it says financial impact here. So in theory, if we approve, well, I don't know, it's just listed on here, and you're gonna say, Michelle, I think that the actual ordinance doesn't include the fees, that's a
It
second
does
ordinance.
not,
But it's just
correct.
referenced here.
It's just
so-
referenced there. And so I can get more data though also on how many food trucks we actually license each year, so you can see what we have brought in historically, what we anticipate the change to be. I can get better data that way, and then also I can give you the list we made of all the surrounding communities at the
And as
next
a-
meeting.
And
As a matter of record,
Yep.
Fun Fest, Park Art Fair,
Correct.
those food trucks don't get a permit from the city.
They do not, they are under a contract with the chamber, and they do get inspected by the county for theirs. But yes,
Completely
they
got
don't come
that,
through
but I'm
here.
just saying
Yeah.
that this ordinance doesn't apply to those food trucks.
Oh.
This is the person who drives in and sets up in a parking lot and that kind of thing.
Yeah, which is very few each year, but I
That's
can
not
get
very
that
many.
exact
Yep.
data. Yeah, for sure.
So there are 2 separate items on the agenda. So if you were good with the ordinance, you could approve that. If you wanted to discuss the fees later on, if you want to wait to approve either one of them for further discussion, you can do it either way. So it's not time sensitive by any means, but we split them apart as 2 separate items for
Well,
tonight.
Okay, so Mike asked my question, did Park Art Fair, because we had a lot of commercial, money-making food trucks this year. I didn't see hardly any
There aren't any.
local.
no.
fundraising type
Correct.
things anymore. They don't do that anymore?
There will
or-
be a few at Fun Fest, but not at Park Art Fair.
Yeah, I didn't see any at Park Art
Yeah,
Fair.
there aren't.
Anyway, so that's one of my questions. Is it a yearly fee or is it a per time
They
fee?
have options they can do, so with those, the option of an annual fee, monthly, or per time.
Okay, and the county's fee is a yearly fee?
I believe so,
Okay.
yeah.
And the fruit stand or corn stand or whatever is right across the old Dairy Queen property?
Yeah.
What do they do? How
So
does that
a farm
work?
produce doesn't need a permit through the city, but
They can put one up
do-
anywhere they want?
Well, you have to have permission from the property owner. So we
Okay.
put them in touch with the property owner, who does require insurance and an agreement signed.
Okay, so they can be there however long they want?
But they can
They
only
just
be
can't sell
selling
anything but
only produce.
produce?
Only
Okay.
produce.
Well, okay, well then, from the same token, all of a sudden I had a vision, and I'm not trying to split hairs, but Girl Scout cookies? That's not farm products.
It is put on the ordinance that if it's a youth fundraiser, that is exempt in our ordinance.
Okay,
So also somebody who wants to go, if you're selling chocolate for the band and you want to go door to door, you do not need a direct seller.
yeah, I wouldn't want to do anything that would inhibit the work of those youth organizations. So, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to offer a motion that we approve ordinance 625 pending legal review. The fees is a secondary discussion.
Yep, the fees will stay the same until whenever.
Second it.
Alderman Kittle,
Yes.
Alderman Breeze, Alderman Weinmeier,
Yes?
Alderman Gartner,
Yes.
Alderman Volkert,
Yes.
Alderman Montello.
Yes. Well, again, I think we've kind of covered that. We're going to just treat that as a first reading and solicit feedback.
Okay.
I'd make a motion to table 7.9.
I'll say.
Oh, we can, yeah, I guess we could do it.
You don't have to. We can
Yeah.
just put no action taken.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. If people have additional data that they'd like collected, just let me know.
Well,
I just want to
I
know
can
what's
put
fair,
together.
what other cities charge.
to that end, how hard would it be to just reach out to some of the restaurants in town that are impacted by the presence of food trucks, and I'm not talking about during
Right.
celebrations?
Ask
Just-
them if they're feeling it.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
do they care? Do they, hey, that's not
Yep.
enough?
For
Whatever.
sure.
I think, Michelle, at our public meeting, you had a lot of that data already, don't you?
Mhm.
So it
Yeah.
won't be a lot of extra work because you already had all the cities around here. We looked at all
Yeah.
of it.
No, it's no
meeting
problem at
you were
all.
at, so we've already looked at that. Yeah.
Yep. I'm happy to bring it.
It's not in here, so I didn't.
No, I know.
I got it.
know. I'm just letting her know that it's,
Yep.
Yeah.
wasn't at
I
that
thought she
meeting,
had it
so-
all already, so.
I do. Yep. Well, of course I do. It's June. Board of Review is June 25th at 5 p.m. I'll send out a reminder for the alderpersons who are a part of that with an opportunity to sit down with Christy and I and learn about the process if you want to. But if folks have not opened their mail from Accurate, please open it. And if you're not comfortable with the assessment that's on there, reach out to Accurate, and Christy and I are also happy to help. June 25th at 5. I'll bring it up right now. I don't want to misspeak, so I'll tell you who's on it. I know Greg is too.
What's the traffic been like relative to phone calls you've been fielding?
You know what? We've had a good number of calls. Percentage-wise, it's very low, but it feels like a lot. But I would say that we're somewhere around 60 properties that have been reviewed and actually changed as of right now because the homeowner had some more data that they were able to share with the assessor. So the assessor did change their value for them. Mostly what we're seeing is in twin homes. So I recommend people who live in twin homes, open your letter and check your value. I can let you know at the end. You can keep going.
This is the end.
We're at the
No one else is, well, I mean, nobody else has
I had a couple
communication?
things.
Oh, go,
sorry.
go. Chief.
Nobody else has anything? Come on.
Officer Benke's in field trials this week with K-9 Coda, so we wish him luck. He did well today. Has a big day tomorrow. So we're wishing him luck and good weather and a good nose on Coda. And then also our new hire, Carson Smith, started the Recruit Academy this week. So
Carson Smith?
Yep. So we'll be full staffed here, hopefully by the end of the year.
How old is Carson?
22 probably. Well, he finished a 4-year degree, so 20,
He
22,
did?
23. Yeah. So we welcome him. He's a local.
Not a shocking
Local
news
young-
there. I know Carson.
The Board of Review is Mayor Zakowski, Greg Gartner, Pete Vries, Craig Kittle, myself, and Tom Weinmeier, and Christy are alternates.
How many?
We have, the board is Mayor Jim, Alderman Gartner, Alderman Reeves, Alderman Kittle, me. There's 5 on the Board of Review. And then Tom is an alternate and Christy is my alternate. Just in case I get busy that day. Something else to do.
Make the motion to go into closed session.
Second?
We have to vote on it, but we can just say aye or nay.